Hello, everyone, and welcome to this wonderful episode of Matcha Talk. I'm so excited to introduce my next guest to you, the talented director Jim Elkin. He is a director for Rochambeau Films, and he specializes in original content and managing creative teams. With over 20 years of experience in film, television, interactive, and new media, Jim started as a comedy writer in Full House, Perfect Strangers, and he even helped launch the Starz Network. So everybody grab your matchas and get ready for Matcha Talk with director Jim Elkin. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me on this exciting episode of Matcha Talk with director Jim Elkin. Jim is a director, welcome, at Rochambeau Films. He manages creative teams and he specializes in original content. In film, television, new media, interactive media, for over 20 years, he also helped launch Starz Network and got his start as a comedy writer on Perfect Strangers, Full House. Welcome, Jim. I'm so excited. I could go through the list, right? I'm thinking, okay. I'm so over the moon to have you on my Matcha Talk.
I'm so glad to be here.
As I was saying, I just absolutely love and adore your work, your positivity. I love your posts are just so fun and comical and just always make me smile and laugh.
Thanks.
And I'm excited to talk with you and get to know you and your background and share your story with everybody because you definitely inspire me.
That's really sweet. You inspire me.
Oh, Jim, thank you. I'm just sending hearts. And I always ask all my guests, so I have to put you on the spot and say, did you get your matcha?
Yeah, so I totally had it. And it's just not here at the moment.
Okay. So we've got it on the side somewhere, and it's okay if you do an interactive one.
It's just too big. It's too big for me to bring it all the way up.
I got you. So tell me, Jim, what is your background? I did a little bit of I just touched on it, right? So let us know how you
did a great job. No, you did a great job. Basically, I thought when I started out, since I was a kid, I really loved TV and film. It's all I ever really wanted to do. So I grew up kind of knowing I wanted to be somehow in film or television, but I didn't really quite know. And then I kind of gravitated towards writing when I was pretty young. When I was in high school and college, I really gravitated towards writing, and I really thought I was going to be a comedy writer. That's really where I thought I was going to go. And when I graduated college, I had an opportunity to work for ABC for TGIF, which did all these promos for Full House and Family Matters. So I started writing all these jokes. And for me, it was a dream job. It was just a dream come true. And I started writing it, and then they started using it in the shows. And I got promoted to associate producer, and my career kind of took off from there. And then I eventually became director. But I really had no idea it was going to go in that direction. It was just kind of a bunch of things that happened and being really lucky in the right place.
And talented.
Yeah,
right? And definitely talented. I love how humble you are, but definitely. And what was it like working on these shows? I'm sitting there going, smiling, as a comedy writer in a room with writers, right? Just these incredibly funny scenes.
It was really fun. It was, I look back on it now, and I don't think I realized how lucky I was. We had to do these conference calls every week with Bob Iger, who is now the huge head dude of Disney, who controls everything.
Right.
And so to think about that now, because then he was just working at ABC, and he was just really in charge of among other things, TGIF, that Friday night of sitcoms. So it's weird to think about. I had this chance to like talk with him like every hour, every week, and work on these shows, just create jokes and have fun. And some of them were really bad, and some of them were really good. But it was just it was a really great learning experience for sure. Like what made something funny, and what wasn't funny, and that was like an amazing experience.
Absolutely. And, I love comedy. I think comedy is
Sure.
just the best. Thank you. Because you have to humor and laugh at things, especially like life experiences. And you said, you think this scene is super funny. And then you see it played out and you're like,
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not. And I've made so many mistakes in my career thinking something's funny and it's not. And it's the worst feeling. But the only way to really get better is to fail and to figure out. For me, at least, it's like I really believe you have to fail. You have to kind of put yourself out there, and then that way, if whether something works or not, and you learn from it, from your mistakes.
Absolutely. And I think that that's key, Jim, that you said is that you don't really fail, you learn, right? You learn, you grow, you be better, and then, and it's all a part of success and, and your journey, which is awesome. And then sometimes you'll write a scene and you'll be like, I'm going to put it in there. And then you see the actors, and the interaction and the scene really come to life and it like wins.
Right. For sure. I've learned so much because I've made so many mistakes, but it's really a great experience. And for me, like, as a director working with actors and, especially when, you can see something's funny right away or not working right away, that's like that's an amazing thing to experience too. Because it's one thing to write on a page, but it's another to see actors portray those words and then figure out, oh, well, this is totally not working. This is not how people speak. And that just makes you a better writer too, and someone who can be better at kind of their craft, which is nice.
Absolutely. And, in your live action comedy, it definitely is. It's about the scene and the actors. And then, in animation, we get to really, really like... bring a scene to life.
I'm so jealous of everything you do. It's just amazing. Animation is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you, what you're doing too.
Thank you. Oh, I can't wait to really get it into production because, I often say it does take a large village, right? So from your, you've got your idea and then, you're writing it as a writer and then, you have your storyboarder artist, board it out and then comes in the animatics and the music and the voiceovers and, it's this beautiful journey into what becomes then the animation. And, and as a creator, you just have no limitations, you can dream it, you can, animate it. And it just, and especially writing comedy, you can just create the funniest scenes. And, yes, as I'm sure you can imagine as a writer, that freedom is incredible. And when you work with artists that, like you said, you collaborate and you're like thinking of these scenes and as you're going, it's just getting like better and wilder and more funny. And you're just like, oh my gosh, this is the best.
So true. So true. And, for what I do, I work with a lot of live action and that takes so much collaboration with so many people too, to make it in any way polished and professional. You have so many people on the crew and you have so many people in post-production too that make, and especially if you're doing comedy, timing is so important. And so you've got those editors who do like amazing work in making something funny. They can make people who weren't funny pretty funny. So it's pretty cool watching it all come together.
I know. Isn't it just the best? Like it truly is. And everyone is key. Everyone is so important to, to the finished, wonderful piece of art that you have. And, and I'm just so excited to talk to you about all of that and get also like, Rochambeau Films. So, talk to me about your company, what you're doing, all of that exciting stuff.
Sure, yeah. So I have a company called Rochambeau Films, and basically what we do is we create entertainment and television commercials for advertising agencies and corporations pretty much kind of runs the gamut. So we basically work on larger brands across the country, and we just try to make some interesting content for them when we get a phone call. And it's really fun. I feel really always blessed whenever the phone rings, and I'm always incredibly thankful when we get work, because there's just an enormous amount of production companies out there, and I'm just always glad that I'm working and I get to do what I love to do.
That, I love that you just said that, that you do what you love. And that's what's most important. And if we think about it, though, too, Jim, there's a lot of everything out there, isn't there? So whether, you are in production, whether, you're an artist, an illustrator, whatever you're doing, there's someone who is also has their own creative voice and their own talent doing it. And so to never be discouraged and to always stay true to your voice, because truly that's what shines and makes you unique from everybody else.
It's really true. It's so true what you just said. I mean, it's really, for what I do too, it's like I think you have to have a point of view of the way you attack everything and you approach everything, because that point of view is really what makes it unique and different in your own vision. Even though it's a really collaborative art form, it needs somebody kind of manning the ship and running it. Even if it's the Titanic.
Right.
Somebody
get behind that wheel.
Yeah, you need somebody there.
Yes.
And so it's just an awesome, fun thing to do.
Isn't it? Like, I'm just talking to you and I can see like you're like so excited and shining, and I love like the pictures I see when you're on production and just like all the fun you're having, while you're creating all this amazing content, and it's just
it's just so, I mean, I know for me, whenever I'm on set, for me, it really should be fun. And I think it's fun for everyone in our crew, for the clients, for actors, for everyone involved in it. I think it's really important, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of other professions that everybody could have gotten into. There are usually a lot of really talented, smart people, and everyone chose this certain area that they're working on. Yeah. And it's not life or death. And I know so many people who are either doctors or lawyers or whatever, and the decisions they make are, there's life and death decisions being made. Well, right. For the most part, we're really not in that position. And when we're working. And so, I think if you're not having fun doing it, you really kind of have to take a step back and go, why am I doing this? What's the whole point of it? And I think that affects everything. It affects the project you're working on, and it affects even in the bigger picture why you're doing it. And I think you need to have fun. You need to have that energy there, even on set. I think it's really important, and it just makes everything a lot better.
Yes, it does. And you definitely have that energy, sir. You can sense it. Like, you can just tell, like, whatever production you're working on, everyone's having a great time. And it's not that it's easy, because it's definitely not easy. And it's a long process, right? What's a day of filming for you?
It can be really challenging. We know it's the day of filming itself for me, it's like by the time we get to the actual filming portion, it is really fun, because there's so many days that led up to it that were really stressful, that were like sleepless nights, that were so many things to find the location, to find the right actors, to find everything that kind of all the pieces fit together. Right. Is so hard. And all those things are so important. And it just keeps not only me up at night, but producers I work with and people on the crew, trying to make sure it's lit correctly, and then we have the right equipment to get that exact shot that we need. So there's so many things that go into it. So by the time we actually get to set, I think there is somewhat of a relief, unless there's some crazy stunt happening where we're all really stressed out. But for the most part, it's like by the time you get there, it's just an incredible feeling of being there. I know we're all just grateful that we're there and having fun. And then after it's filmed, there's a whole process of post-production that happens that is its own complete animal, and it's its own complete, as you know, doing animation, which is such a huge thing. Right. And for us, we have rough cuts and color correction and graphics and sound that's so important as well.
Mhm.
And so all those things are take place even after we're shooting. So shooting is like kind of the middle portion. And by the time we're in post, and it's kind of like the last third.
Yeah, and it's all like you're saying, all of that pre-production. Because even before you get to, the storyboards and all of that, you have your backgrounds, you have your character designs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there is just a world that you're building for the show or the film that you're creating as well. So there's
So
all of that pre-production, then the production, then, then it
right.
just, it keeps going.
Oh,
And yeah.
yeah. Animation is such a huge thing. I've directed some animation, and it's just such a huge amount of work. I mean, it just is from each portion. Just kind of you have to figure out what you're actually going to see, and you have to build this whole entire world and what that is and what that means. It's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's like you just like for me I'm just shining because I absolutely love animation. It's just
Great.
a world that I just cherish and embrace and appreciate and just love immensely, and every part of it is joyful.
That's
And it's not like it's not hard work because it
right.
definitely is, but when you love what you do and you actually are creating something that brings you so much joy that you want to share that joy with your audience and everybody else and touch them in a way that brings them that happiness,
Oh, it's great.
and
It's
that's
amazing the amount of emotions you can get from animation too.
yeah,
On the gamut between like being really funny and getting really poignant,
yeah,
sad,
right.
make everyone really feel those emotions in every way.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
so what they
think,
do.
and also
Yeah,
think
yeah,
and feel because comedy isn't just about like, oh, I'm laughing and everything's so funny. It's like, no, it can definitely have its dramatic points as well, as you know.
well,
You
for sure,
know,
I think the best part of comedy is that exactly is that it
yeah.
comes from a place of tragedy
Hmm.
and comes from a place of really bad experiences, and then being able to look on that and twist it in a way that people can really relate to,
Hmm.
and really make them think about, oh wow, there is something unique to that is kind of that resonates with everybody. That's
Right,
funny because
right,
and I think that's what makes it funny is it resonates with you in some way that you
hmm,
can instantly relate to it,
right.
um, which at the time might not have been funny, but now it's funny. It's a little
And
bit of, uh,
it's funny that you said that because I was just thinking that, I was saying this earlier. I'm like, okay, so here's a situation that you're in, and it's not funny at the time, or you could be laughing at it, but you're like, oh, this is just not good. And you park it, and like later on, you bring it out, and you do make it into an experience that actually is really funny.
right,
And it does resonate with someone somewhere. Like,
right,
oh my goodness, I had that situation, I've overcome it, right? So it's kind of like being in that moment, realizing it's not going to last, it's for the best, whatever it is, and just making fun of it.
right.
Just having a good time with it, how absurd it is, how ridiculous it is, and the fact that you did maybe take it to heart at the time. So I think that's the gift of comedy is just to have that to make us laugh at those things that at the time didn't or that, resonate with other people in a humorous way. Because life is dramatic enough, isn't it, Jim?
It really is.
Because we have to laugh at it and situations, and that's what makes it so great. And and also to not be discouraged. So because it's hard to be an artist and to follow your voice and remain true to it when you're constantly swayed, or someone may not like it, or they say something to you and you're like start thinking too much, and then the two guys of fear and doubt come in, and then
Right.
you got to throw them in the back so they're not up front with you. So all of these challenges come up, or maybe you've had this project or something that you love, or this piece of music, and you parked it because you were like, what's the use? There's so many of musicians or artists or illustrators, so why even bother, right?
Right.
Which is ridiculous, You should always bring that out and and focus on your voice. So for you, because you are successful, you have a great background, know what you wanted to do, learn, grown. What can you share with these artists that that maybe are a little insecure or haven't really put their work out there? What is some great wisdom you can share?
Well, now you made it the pressure because you said great wisdom. I would have been okay.
Oh, absolutely. It
So,
sure
but
is great. Oh, we haven't even we've only started.
um, I would say some of the best advice I ever got. I got to work with Spike Lee twice in my career, and some of the best advice I ever got was actually from Spike Lee. And he said, whatever you want to do, you just have to do it. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of people spend time going to film school and those kind of things. And he had a kind of an interesting take on that, where he wasn't really down on it, but he just said it's better just to go do it. Just go make your art, which I thought was an interesting piece of advice. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I definitely think there's something to that where you'd say, hey, you really need to just,
Do it.
part of that insecurity that you have is okay. And I think you can feed off that a little bit because I get that way for sure. And I know other directors that are filmmakers, animators, I think everyone gets insecure no matter how successful they are, or not successful. And I think you have to use a little bit of that fear that you get a little bit in the work itself. And that keeps you a little bit motivated to, number one, be better and to always strive. But also say, to make yourself different from everybody else, and the fact that you're going to do it, that you're going to go out there, you're going to, do the dream that you have. And even though it's scary, you go out and you just do it, and you do the thing that's important to you, that you feel like you need to do.
Right.
I know I went to school, and I know so many other filmmakers that kind of stopped along the way and stopped maybe being filmmakers, or went in a different path, which is fine too. But I think one of the things when I look back on it, one of the things weren't the fact that they weren't as talented, because they certainly were. It was just the fact they let the fear overcome them, and that's. And whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But I think you have to have a little bit of it to be successful too. And just don't let it overcome you, who you are.
That's right. You just tell them that, hey, you're going to be here, you're going to be back there. Right?
Yeah.
You're not
going
to be driving anything.
Yeah, take the back seat.
That's right.
I'm driving. Taking the back seat.
Right. Whatever chatter is happening. Yeah.
Right.
Work through the fear and do it anyway.
Right. Exactly.
Because how can you get better? How can you grow? How can you do amazing things in the world that only you can do if you let these insecurities kind of take over, right? Because you never want to look back and be like, well, what if I did that? What if I just had a little bit more courage? And it's okay if not everybody loves it. If you get some feedback, because it's all good, and as long as it's true to who you are and your voice, somewhere it's a big beautiful world. Someone's gonna love what you do, and someone's gonna be inspired by you, and it's gonna touch them or move them. And that, I think, is the most joyful feeling, like we were saying, that it resonates with your audience and it makes them laugh or smile. And I always say, have good tears.
Yeah. That's so true. I mean, for me, I have more respect for somebody who's scared of flying and they go skydiving.
Do it.
Because to me, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing when somebody's like, I'm just going to go skydiving. I don't have no fear of death, and I'm going to jump. To me, it's like, wow, the person who's really scared of skydiving, they really did it.
In a big way.
That's I think both are crazy. I'm not jumping out of an airplane, just so you know. But I think it's still.
Me neither. We're good.
But it's still amazing to me, and I think it is. You can, as long as you have that fear and you can keep going, that's awesome. Like that, I think that's just that's a huge thing, and I think that just makes you stronger as an artist too.
I agree, and it's just taking that first step. It's not like you see this grand vision, or you're like, oh my gosh, this is too big. I don't know how I'm going to do it. You just start with where you are right now. And every day you take however long, whether it's a half hour, whether it's an hour, to just really nurture that and kind of just involve yourself in your creativity, whatever it is. And you will start to see that you are now building the foundation to actually bring whatever it is that you've always dreamed of to life. Because I always say dreams are tangible goals, right? If you take action. Otherwise, they always remain that dream, right? So with every action that you take, you're actually realizing that dream. You know?
I'm so inspired right now.
Oh, thank you. I told you it was going to be magical. I knew it.
So I totally feel unicorns.
I know. But, you know, and I want artists to know, and everyone who's watching, because I believe everyone's a creative being.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that as well.
Yeah, they are. Whatever voice they have creatively, you know, whether it's, you know, in the kitchen as a cook, or whether it is, you know, a poet or a spoken word, or whatever it is that you are doing, it's unique to you. And you feel it when you feel that joy. And I think the most important thing is to start, because when you start, something changes. It's like you connect with that true part of yourself. That's why we're here.
That's so true.
You know, and nothing inspires us more than art. You know, it really, really does. So I want to know, you've launched a network and help launch, you know, not just a little network, right? So this is Starz. So talk to me about that, right? So, I mean, especially in this day and age of, like, you know, technology and, you know, and new media, interactive media, and then, you know, you have these amazing networks like Starz, you know, and what does that look like? I mean, how does that, you know, how do you start? Talk to me all about that, because I'm so excited to hear.
You know, again, it was, in terms of my career path, that was just like a really lucky happenstance that I happened to get a job at Starz. I was there in the very beginning when the channel launched, and it was nothing like it was now. There was, I think, maybe 20 people or something when it first started. So I was there, and I was kind of tasked with, you know, trying to help launch this movie network. It was an amazing experience. It basically, when I was there, it grew from, like, you know, 20 to 1,000 people. So, I mean, it just completely exploded. I think within a year of when I was there, just, you know, the whole thing, it went from this small little thing. Hold on. Hold on.
No worries.
It's a video conference call. Is there any way? Is that a story? Is that all right? No, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. Thanks. Oh, hi.
That's so awesome. I actually had some time to sip on my matcha, so I was just smiling. I was like, it's okay. It's a great matcha break.
That's really awesome.
So we're all good. So talk to me. So you said from 20 to 1,000. What was
20 to like 1,000 people. Wow. So it was an amazing experience. And that time, the people who started the company, they've never started a movie network before. So there was such a huge learning curve for everybody there, who was in this kind of this whole new arena. And they started making original movies. And I was lucky enough to be sent to Hawaii a few times, where they were making this really one of the most awful movies I've ever seen.
Shall it remain nameless?
I'll name it. I don't mind. I have great love for it. It was called Escape from Atlantis, and it featured Jeff Speakman, who's a martial artist, who's an amazing martial artist, and he fought a bunch of little people on this island that were on Atlantis. And there were unicorns and all kinds of things.
I love unicorns.
It was really amazing. It really was an amazing film in the best, worst possible way.
Okay.
It was amazing. And I'll never forget being there. And, you know, again, these are people who've never made a movie before, you know. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it was all like a really big learning experience for everything. And now Starz has made just amazing original programming. Yes. But when I was there, they had this unicorn. They couldn't figure out how to keep the horn on. So I'll never forget, they spent the whole day trying to get this unicorn horn to stay on, and they could never get it to work. So the horse that was just like running off in the distance, and you could just see the horn just going bouncing up and down.
He was just running. He was like, "What are they doing to me?
He just wanted to go home.
What is this thing on my head? I just want to be a horse and run free." And they're what is happening right now?
It was really one of the greatest experiences, though. It really was. It made me a better director just watching it.
Oh, that is so. I'm not. If it's somewhere, I'm watching this film.
You really should look it up. I encourage you.
I'm going to.
I still have a great love for it. It's a great film.
Oh, that is fantastic.
And we had one of the other things that we had Schindler's List, which was at the time was a really great big film from Steven Spielberg's company, and the Starz bought it for like an incredible amount of money, and from Amblin Entertainment, and so they gave it to me to help promote on the network, and I was incredibly scared and freaked out because at the time, it would be for anybody a really big responsibility, and I had to work directly with Amblin Entertainment to make sure it was what Steven Spielberg wanted, which was probably one of the greatest things I've ever worked on. And I'll never forget getting a phone call from Amblin Entertainment saying, "Oh, Steven really liked what you did," blah blah blah. And it was like, hopefully I saved it somewhere. I really did. So I'm like, that's like the one thing that actually I felt like, Steven Spielberg saw my stuff. It was just like an amazing experience. That was like the coolest thing. So I had some incredible experiences, but it's still a very huge corporation. It recently got bought out from Lionsgate. So it's a very large corporation now, but and I have still some great friends who work there. And it's really cool to see everyone who has been there just shine and do amazing things. So it's pretty fun. I'm honored I got to take a small part of it in my life.
Such a beautiful film, and to work with Steven must have been incredible as well. Just to
It was just an amazing experience just to even be able to be anywhere close to that film and help in any way get it seen by more people. It was really cool. It was very fun.
Definitely. I'm just taking that pause and that moment, because I'm sure when you're a part of something so beautiful and wonderful, and and helping to bring that out into the world, I mean, I'm sure it's just the best feeling.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was just great, and it was such an important film too. And I was just honored to work on it.
Definitely. Yeah. So, and I want to know, because you've done such incredible work. This is a beautiful example. It's definitely a challenge to, launch a network, and you do have growing pains, and, that's how you become better. And, and you start to really kind of find what you do and your voice and all of that. So I want to know, I ask everyone, how does Jim, fill his cup? Because you have so much going on. You have that knock at the door. I'm sure they're like, "Hey, Jim, we need you." We got stuff going on, and and all of this, right? At the same time, you have a beautiful family,
Thanks.
That you give to, that I just love, and adore. I mean, seriously, just absolutely incredible. And I always say, family is important. My babies, my husband, I mean, they're the light of my life and my inspiration, right? And it's incredible. And especially, when you are an artist, and what's really beautiful is to be supported in that, to just have that light in your life, and your beautiful daughter,
Thanks.
who's just absolutely incredibly adorable. And, so tell me, Jim, how does Jim fill his cup so that he can give to everybody in his life and his work?
Well, for me personally, I think I really need all of that family stuff is so very important to me. So all that love and all of that makes me better. It makes me work harder. Um, and it just makes me strive to be a better person. So that's really the most important thing to me, more than anything, more than work or anything else. But what I try to do is I try to take an hour a day for sure, and make sure I have time for myself. And for me, I'll just work out, and I'll just put on my headphones, and I'll just like totally tune out. And that's where I get most of my inspiration for the day. If I have stuff that I'm stressed out about or stuff I'm working on, I just like tune everything out. I just put on my music, and I can just do my thing, and I can just concentrate on nothing. And then usually that's when everything happens for me. When I'm just not thinking about anything. I don't have to worry about any stress from life or work or anything else. That's it for me. And that portion alone just gets me through the day for sure. So that's what helps me.
That's huge. I mean, truly, because you're taking care of your mind, your body, and your soul. And
and I just look at my calves, just my calves. That's like my right calf.
Just that one, but it's working out. It's working itself out.
It's like, man, 5 seconds, I'm beat.
But it's so true. Everyone has, whatever it is, especially successful artists. And by success, artists that are truly, truly doing their creative work and putting it out there. That is true success, is just honoring your voice. Right. So whether it is, for me, getting up in the morning, chanting, as a Buddhist, and just really powerfully chanting and connecting to that bigger part of your life that then moves your day forward to, your family, and really like when you are with your family, to spend that time with them, and to have that quality time. And
so
cool. It is the most important thing, I think, especially when you are busy and you have so many different things going on. It's like that has to be the most important thing. Right.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's so true what you just said. I just love that, because being present in that moment is so incredibly important.
Yeah.
Especially with family and work too, but just to be there and be 100% there.
Exactly. It is. And it's like putting the phone away, closing the computer. You're always thinking, okay, there's this one thing, I have to do this, and it's like, nope, this is my time to really connect to my life and the bigger part of my life, because that is, your work is better, your life is fuller, and that joy, just you carry that with you everywhere. And I think that's what's most important, is that you have a well-balanced, life, that you have, that work-life balance where you take care of yourself. You have gym time, that you give to yourself because you have to, and it's not selfish. Right. We have to be selfish, because if we're not, how can we give to anybody else if our cup is always dry? And you start to feel it, and you get burnt out. And, and when you have all of these great, balances, including how you eat, how you treat yourself, your body, your health is most important, because if you don't have that, there's nothing, and sleep, even if you get a few hours,
right.
So
no, that's huge.
Yeah. Just make it count.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes you're not going to get all of that sleep, but that whatever you're going to eat, or that matcha you're going to drink, and I always say, you get those antioxidants and that natural energy into your body, you're going to feel it throughout your day.
Right. So true. And it's so important what you put in your body as well. It's such a great.
It is.
Yeah, totally agree.
Because everything's connected, your mind, your body, all of it, your creativity.
I'm going to put these comments away real quick. I just gotta go back.
Yeah. So I want to know, right now, what are you working on? We're like, what is something exciting that you can share, with all of us? Like, what's coming up with Rochambeau Films, and I'm so excited to find out.
I've got some really cool projects that I've got going on right now. I don't know how much I can talk about, but one of them I'm supposed to work. I guess I can't mention the exact brand, but I'm working on a chain of hotels. So I'll be traveling around the country to some amazing places and filming at these hotels I'm really excited about. And that's probably
well,
all
stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
That's exciting. So you get to like travel around and just like lounge and and just basically showcase these incredible hotels that are probably in these beautiful places.
Yeah, and some incredible places. I don't know if there'll be too much lounging, but there will definitely be a lot of fun to be had. And it's going to be super fun and exciting, and I'm really excited about it. And I love traveling, so it's going to be a great experience for sure. And I have an agent in New York that kind of always looks out for my best interests and always kind of putting my work out there. And so I'm up for some jobs on the East Coast I'm really excited about as well.
Ah, that's great.
So, yeah, so it's all good things.
I can't wait. So you're going to keep us posted.
I will.
And yeah, definitely. And I just want to say thank you so much, Jim. Thank
you so much for having me. This is an honor. I am completely honored.
Oh, I was so excited to have you on. I was just like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to really sit down and share our talk because like I said, you inspire me and your energy is so beautiful and positive and just joyful. And I truly appreciate you and your support and your friendship. And, and I'm just honored to have you on my Matcha Talk.
Well, you are awesome.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm taking that. That's so,
you should I'm throwing it at you.
Oh, I love it. No, more. And thank you so much, Jim. And I, because I know how busy you are, and I know that you've definitely inspired me and everyone who watches this talk. So thank you so much. I'll let you go because I know your team is probably has a list of things to do, right? And ask you about. And I'm super, super excited to share your work, which will be on, on Kate's website as well. So,
Yay!
So go have a beautiful day, and thank you again so, so much.
Thanks so much for having me. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you, Jim. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful episode of Matcha Talk with the incredible Jim Elkin. I'm so excited to have shared Jim's story with you, and I know that you're as inspired as I am. To find out more about Jim's work, you can go to Matcha Talk's guest page on baddayKate.com. And you can see more about my animated series, Bad Day Kate, and Kate's spin-off series, The Babies. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, SoundCloud, give me a like, and stay tuned for more inspiring guests that I am so excited to share with you. You can also stay in the know on Matcha Talk's Facebook page, where I post upcoming guests on the events page. So until next time, everybody, remember, go do what you love and love what you do.